What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Sutton Sanctuary Podcast.
Brand new episodes with special guests and myself coming to you weekly.
Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe so you guys are up to date and get notified right whenever those new episodes are dropped.
Once you guys are done with that, head on over to Hydrate12 IV Therapy and Wellness on Facebook and Instagram and get your IV scheduled today.
The Sutton Sanctuary Podcast on YouTube and Spotify, as always. Thank you guys for watching. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We got Gilpin back in the sanctuary with us. What's up?
What's up, man?
The man responsible for all the chaos in my life right now. This is an episode I was looking forward to. I feel like we've had a lot of text exchanges over the last couple of weeks, going over a lot of different stuff, so it's nice to sit down and kind of talk about it. I know I'd mentioned, for those that don't know, you're watching this, Matt and I recently had decided to run a 50K ultra marathon in August. So that's kind of what this episode will be about. I've had a lot of people asking me why are you guys wanting to do this?
You're crazy.
Where did this idea come from? Like, you've never really been a runner. Why is this something you want to jump into now? And so, I know that in the last podcast, me and Bradley talked about, this will be a chance for everyone to kind of listen, kind of behind the scenes action right now, kind of our mindsets going into this and what the plan is and everything, all things running, because that's what's going to consist of the next 4 months. So what's up though, man? What's been going on new with you?
Oh, man, it's the baseball season, full swing.
Yeah. So is that summer ball?
Yep. 2 different teams, and then trying to train for this race. And I was telling you earlier, my daughter's getting married in 2 weeks. So
yeah.
A
lot of things happen all at once.
Yeah, I got all the things going on.
So. Yeah, it's like, man, why? Probably a lot of people are like, man, you got a million things going on. Why would you want to throw in an ultra marathon prep on top of that?
Yeah, you know what? I trained for this time last year. I was training for a half marathon.
Yeah.
And I remember how bad it sucked.
Yeah.
And here I am again.
Right.
But now I'm training for something that's, three times longer than that or so.
Yeah, so a half marathon is what, 13?
Yep.
And the 50K, for those that don't know, is like 31 and some change, 32 miles. Yeah, it's a big jump. I was talking to someone at the gym the other day, and they asked me what the farthest I'd ever ran at once, and at the time it was like 5 miles.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's a pretty big jump.
Yeah.
Like,
a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, we kind of talked about it, and I'll kind of share the story again about how it was, the picture I saw where you guys were getting ready to go run that relay race.
Yeah.
And that's what sort of like sparked my intuition into wanting to get into running and competing again. Whenever people ask you though, like, why do you want to run an ultra marathon? What do you tell them when people ask you why?
Well, since I've gotten into running,
yeah,
and then like the more and more I've gotten into it, I just feel like the grind of that is really intriguing to me.
Yeah,
and like it's it's a run, walk, hike, aid stations. I mean, it's a grind, and that I don't know. So I've been telling like my buddies I run with a lot that like I've been telling them this for a while, and they all think I'm just why or you're crazy.
Yeah,
but man, just something about it. I just want to do it so bad I think just to prove myself right more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of how I look at it too. It's kind of like why, and it's like, well, it is sort of one of those things that like if you don't get it, you're just not gonna get it. Like, if you don't know,
I don't even really fully understand it either. But.
Yeah, it's like hard to even put into words. It's like well, fuck, I don't know. The more I sit here and think about it, it's like, why do I want to do this?
I know, I don't know if there's a good answer.
Right.
I mean, other than I think we both just want to prove to ourselves that we can do it.
Yeah. Something like for myself, I've been trying to think about this of like, actually like why, and like I actually have like a good reason for that. And there's like a lot of things that they all kind of feed back into the same thing. It's kind of like for myself personally, so now I'm a year, and I think this month was like a year and 6 months sober now. So the first like 6 months of sobriety, even to like 10 months, it's kind of like a baby deer, right? Like you're learning to walk again.
Right.
You're learning how to be back in society with a sober mind, and like you're kind of learning how to handle certain emotions in ways that before you would deal with them with drugs and alcohol or whatever it was, or I would. And so like those first 6 to 10 months, it's like you're kind of shaky on your feet. It seems like you're kind of trying to find your place again in this world. And for myself, it seems like I'm kind of back at a place now of like I don't feel like I'm stumbling around anymore.
Yeah,
I feel
sure.
like I'm on my
Yeah,
feet,
on your feet.
and not just physically, but like mentally. Like I'm back on my feet. Like I'm
Yeah.
sturdy in my beliefs. I'm sturdy in what I'm trying to pursue in this life, and um, so part of it is kind of sort of symbolic in a sense of whenever I imagine like running these 30 miles, it's kind of like, to me, this race is sort of running away. I'm drawing the line sort of between kind of like my past life, I guess you could say,
Yeah, I love it.
of like where I was at before, and the man that I was before, and I got away from that, got myself together, and now I'm like, okay, this is where I officially cut that away off completely.
Man,
it's
I love
over.
that. That's cool.
And because I kind of started this podcast under wanting to share about the struggles with addiction and all these things, and that's all great, and I want to continue to do that. But like at some point, I'm like, oh well, I don't want that to be like to define me forever.
Yeah.
Like it's a part of my life and a story that I would always be happy to tell and share my experiences. But like at some point, it's like that's not everything about me though,
Sure.
and like I don't want that to be the only thing that I'm kind of known for.
Yeah.
So like.
That.
So yeah, in a way, it's sort of symbolic. It's like this race signifies like, if for one, it's going to be excruciating, it's going to be terrible, and it's like this whole 30 miles. It's like a whole process of like I'm officially cutting the cord on everything that was behind me.
I like that.
And then
That's cool.
whenever I come across the finish line, and it's like I'm running into like my new life in a way of like who I am now.
I have so much respect for people that recover from stuff like that, dude, because I've seen it so much in my life where people can't.
Mm-hmm.
I had a dad who was addicted to drugs his whole, and I would try and try and try. And so, like, it just pumps me up it makes me happy to see, especially one of my good friends, to overcome something like that, man. So this is awesome. I know I've told you that 1,000 times.
Yeah.
It never gets old.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I appreciate it. Yeah. So for me, that's kind of, on the runs where it's like, why am I doing this? This sucks. And then I just kind of remember every step forward that I'm running in a way is like I'm running away from the man that I used to be.
Yeah, it's cool.
And I'm just getting farther and farther away. And like this is the where I put the hammer down. And it's like, okay, I'm officially cutting the umbilical cord on that. And that part is whenever I finish this, it's like done. And it's like kind of like running into this new life of like making sure that Briley or my family or whoever it is like never has to see that version of me ever again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that version's officially being buried and put in the ground.
That's cool. I think one of my whys is I've been doubted my whole life. I mean, I come from not such a great family home life when I was younger.
Right.
So I was probably doubted if I would ever amount to anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was probably doubted if I would ever have a beautiful, wonderful wife like I have.
Sure.
He probably may never have that,
Sure.
Or I don't know if, for sure that people, I just
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and like, I feel like, I'm sure when I started running, people probably thought, man, he'll never stick with it. And this and that. And then, I just want to like not only prove myself right, but I know there's people out there like, man, these guys, they're not going to finish this thing.
Right.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
That just fuels the fire more for me, and just gives me extra motivation too. So.
Yeah, and a lot of those people that you see that have thoughts, it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing of once you really insert yourself into sort of the fitness industry and health and well, and get you start to surround yourself with more like-minded individuals in that sense, the negativity really does go away in the sense of like people being like, hey, they're not going to do this, or they'll probably, they'll end up fizzling out. They're not going to run that race.
But it's never anybody that's doing more than you.
Never.
It's only people that are doing less, sitting their ass on the couch.
You never have someone that's also out there getting it that is going to be
discouraging.
Like, never.
No.
I've never found one person.
No.
Like, not anyone that's really worth listening to and like is actually doing something with themselves every single day. And like, those are the people that'll never, it seemed like, ever put negativity into your mind. So I think that's really important to understand, is if you're just now getting into working out or running or just taking care of yourself, whatever it is, any of the negativity that you're hearing in regards to you wanting to take care of yourself are from people that are not worth the opinions of listening to.
No, like Aaron Rodgers said on somebody's podcast, he said, don't ever take criticism from somebody you wouldn't take advice from.
Absolutely.
Man, I love that.
Yeah. He said, I'll never take criticism from someone I wouldn't take advice from. And the more you think about that, the more I realize, like, I don't know, maybe it's like just my whole way of like, I like to do things my way, figure things out on my own. I was listening to this podcast, and these guys were talking about like, I'm the type of person where I could be down in a hole, right? And there could be 1,000 people at the top with ropes hanging down there to pull me out. And I'll be down there looking around like, I'll find one. Like, there's probably one down there laying around here somewhere. Yeah. Like, I'll find my own way out, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I can be pretty bad about that at times too. I'll figure it out myself.
Yeah. And, I tried to get away from that mindset and be more open to like help, and that's like a whole process in itself. But I think the one thing that's kind of like drawn my attention to the running and stuff and why I like it, and I didn't really notice about it at first, but that the first long run for me that I did, that 7 miles, and like halfway through I kind of realized, like, I think where I like the most is like, in everyday life, I can't let my demons consume me, because I've got a job and a wife and bills to pay and people to help take care of, and whatever the case is, like, I can't have time to just like be in my feelings and like let that stuff bring me down. Yeah. But whenever I'm running, it's like, that's an hour where I can kind of let those thoughts like take over. And like, to some people say that you should never let those kind of thoughts creep in, but I don't know. I kind of like it. Like, something about like, it just like reminds me. I don't know. It keeps like the pain fresh of like everything that we went through. Cause like, as much as I don't want like my past life to define me, I don't ever want to forget what that feels like.
And I don't think you should have to forget it. You know what I mean? I think it's good for you to always keep that. So you don't forget, mainly so you don't forget who you are. Yeah. Cause it was part of your life. Right. Yes, I get that. Like, I like to run when I run by myself. I don't listen to music or anything. I'm usually just in my thoughts, which is kind of crazy at times. But and kind of boring at times. Right. I've just, man, that's where I do a lot of thinking, and a lot of times if I'm running in the mornings, it's where I plan my day. Yeah. Yeah. Think about things and. No outside distractions, and it's sort of it's a time where you can be selfish. No one's out there, no one knows what you're thinking. You can be selfish and think about things. Like I said, you can't just take the time out of the middle of a day and be in your feelings about some of these things, or get in your head about some of this stuff. Like, you got a life to live. Like, we don't have time for that. Yeah, true story. So, but getting out on the road though and running, it's like that gives me time to sort of allow myself to kind of get consumed with those negative thoughts. And it's a fine line. If you're still early on in your battle and you're still kind of struggling, I'm probably not great to recall a lot of that stuff. Maybe you should be more focused on the next task ahead. But I think eventually you want to get to that point where you can comfortably sit down with those demons and sit down at the table with them, and look across the table at them and look them in the eye and be like, at one point you controlled me, and now it's like, I'm the fucking boss here. Yeah. Like, I love that. Now you're in your place and I'm the one in charge. And you still have the voices in the background, or at least I do, that try to sneak their way in there. But I think that's just what keeps me on my toes some days. Yeah. But that's a good place to be though, man.
Yeah. It's comfortable
with who you are. I mean, That's huge.
I think it's one of the biggest things that fitness has brought out for me.
Me
Is just
too.
like
Me
being
too.
comfortable with who I am.
Yep.
And you know, all the bad things. And I think a lot of people get the idea that like to make, you know, like these changes in your life, that they either have to be like dramatic or you have to like do the most whenever it comes in. To me, it's just like these little bitty small things. And it's not like I'm not trying to like completely forget about everything. It's more so about being okay with it.
Sure.
Because you can never get rid of it completely. I don't think you should try to get rid of it completely. I think it's more so about learning to be okay with it, with who you are. And because everybody has these terrible things about themselves. Everybody, you know, you think it's just you. And
no matter what family you think is perfect to you, even if it's a family that doesn't have much or a family that does have a lot, man, they all have problems. It doesn't matter.
right. Yeah, I think that's just the learning to be okay and like because the people that you look up to the most are like, you know, the people that you would define as like successful or who you want to kind of, you know, you want to try to live like or whatever the case is. It's you know, you realize that all those people still have insane amounts of baggage, and probably the more successful you are, probably the bigger that bag is.
Yeah.
And you realize like, okay, these people aren't. What makes these people so great is despite all of those things, like they're still completely comfortable in their own skin.
Right.
And that's a trait that I've been wanting to develop. Just like, no matter what, it doesn't matter what you say to me or what you say about me or whatever the case is. Like, I know who I am, and like no thought that you have about me could change that.
Yeah, for sure. It was like Goggins said one time. He was like, everybody has problems. Difference is some people are better at hiding them than you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, they're just as fucked up as anybody else, but they just hide it better.
Yeah.
You know, and there's some truth into that. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. The people are good at hiding it, or maybe it's just like they've just accepted, you know, like
yeah, it's true too.
A lot of I think maybe that's like a lot of people spend a lot of their life just in denial about a lot of different things. And like, you know, it's like the more you just like, kind of like we talked about earlier, like this morning, just like with running, whenever you know you've got like a 2-hour run scheduled, and it's like, you can't just be in denial about, or be thinking in your mind that, okay, I'm going to get this done in 30 minutes. And like, it's just one of the, like, you just have to accept we're in it. We're out here, and I think that's like a principle that should be applied to a lot more of life, of just accepting, like.
Yeah, that's very true.
And I don't know, maybe that's just my kind of like, I'm like a go with the flow kind of person. Like, you can't. It's hard for someone to like, you know, fuck up my day. Like I can pretty easily adjust or just go along with whatever we're doing. But yeah, a lot of people get so caught up, I think, in either like denial or like maybe it's like control issues. Like they just want to control everything. I don't know. So back to this race. So what I've been, is there anything about this race that makes you nervous? Like whenever you think about it, is there
Like I was
anything?
telling you earlier, running, the only thing I have to get figured out is nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Like, got to find that fine line of like not eating too much,
Right.
eating enough, drinking enough, not drinking too much.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that really makes me nervous. Like, I feel physically wise,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't really make me nervous. I mean, snakes, I don't know about all that shit, but we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, that's what I was reading a thing, and it was like, you got to watch out for
Yeah.
ground hornets and copperheads, and I was like,
Cottonmouths and
cottonmouths and all sorts of other stuff.
There's no way I do that. The 100-mile race there, dude. You'd be out there in the dark.
Yeah.
I ain't doing that one.
I don't know, how long do you think it takes them to run that 100 miles a day?
Typical 24-hour or 100-mile races are like 24 or 30 hours.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna be out in that woods in the dark, bro.
Yeah, not the Shawnee Forest.
No.
I'm not too crazy. You know, I've like heard crazy stories out of the Shawnee. I've been around the Shawnee. The wildlife is off the charts. I don't really know if I want to be out there at midnight. And like I'm the only thing in that wood that don't have night vision, pretty much.
Yeah. So the only thing that really makes me nervous is the eating side of things. If I can if I can keep that in check, I'll be good. And if we train really well, and I can get that narrowed down and get that in check, and I'll be good to go, I think.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like a. Everywhere I see it, it's always like people talking about the mile 20 mark is where it's like make or break. And especially once you start getting around to like marathon, around 25, 26, everyone's like the different, everyone thinks like the difference between a marathon and an ultra is just 6 miles. And
Just 6 miles.
yeah, but everything I've heard, like that last 6 miles is where
I've heard that.
you find out whether you have actually put in the training, like. Because I was reading this one guy, he was like, I've seen a lot of like, just not all their people, and he's like, they can make it to mile 15 on hardly no training, and he's like, some of these guys are just they're a little notch off in the head. He's like, but then you start to see these guys, they get around to the mile 20 and 25, and then he's like that last 5 miles, and he's like, you people are out there just completely contemplating all their life decisions up to that point.
Guarantee
So,
it, I mean, not only is it going to be grueling.
yeah.
Approximately 3,200 feet of gain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the middle part of the day, dude, it could be 100 degrees that day.
Yeah, the end of August.
Easily.
Yeah, I'm guessing we're probably going to be in the 90s.
Yeah.
That's
good.
probably a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, it's
like,
a safe bet.
At the minimum 90. Like it's going to with a heat index of probably 100 to.
And there's going to be shade, but I've ran races like that were in the shade on a hot day like that. But like with shade comes hardly any wind at all too.
True.
So, yeah, it's gonna be a dogfight.
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I think because even like you said in the shade, and if you're familiar with like the Southern Illinois tri-state area at all, and the humidity, like there's no escaping the humidity, whether you're under the shade or even if you're standing in front of a fan. And whenever you're outside, middle of summer around here, and it's humid, like there's no getting away from it.
No, there isn't.
I don't know what I don't know what people do. I guess a lot of people get those masks and train with those the elevation masks. Have you ever used those?
No, I haven't, but I
haven't
know what
either.
you're talking about.
Yeah, I haven't. I think Brad said he had one of those that he was because he's gonna go race out in Colorado. Over the summer in that huge bike race out there.
Leadville 100.
Oh, is that what he's in? That's what it is. It's the Leadville 100.
Yeah, they have
a bike portion of that too.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I heard that's one of the hardest races like on foot in the country.
Yeah,
is the Leadville 100.
I don't remember what the gain is. Not only is it the gain, but you have the lack of air.
Yeah, can't breathe and. Yeah, I've heard. I didn't realize that was the Leadville. Damn, because I think we've talked about going out there and watching him whenever he goes out there and does that. So that would be cool to go out there and get to see that race. And I've already been thinking about. I've already looked. I found like 3 other marathons before the year's over. I've been looking at and like you talked about. You said there's a 50 miler.
Yeah. So if this, I mean, I don't know if you call it if it goes well.
Right.
But if I don't die.
Yeah. What is going well for you for this race? What would be at the end of this race as you look back over it? What are some of the components you would like to see where you think you could be like, yeah, I crushed it?
Man,
like just finishing it?
Finish it and yeah, I think so, really.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be hard as hell.
I want to sprint across the finish line.
Yeah.
I want to
I want to have some left in it. I mean, this is talking crazy.
Yeah.
And this video might be funny, like after we.
Yeah.
We do this after we run it and realize how clueless we were going into this.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what's going to happen.
But my goal is to take it easy, hike the hills, run the downhills, run the flats.
Right.
Stay moving. Even from what I hear, even like aid stations, don't hang around too long. Stay moving. And if I have some left in the tank last 5 miles, I don't know. I'm gonna get after it and see what happens.
Try to finish it tough.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I know that like.
It sounds crazy, but I mean.
Yeah, I've noticed just like even at the end of like small runs, like once you look and like if you have like a destination spot and you know that like that's the finish. Like there's something about like having a finish line. And, like, whenever you're, like, a mile out, and, like, even on my runs, I'll start to, like, I'm really good about, like, fantasizing, and, like, I can create situations in my mind and make it so real, I almost feel like I'm actually in it. Like,
oh, yeah.
probably one of the best and worst things about my mind is that like how real I can make fake situations in my mind and like almost believe it where I can start to feel emotion and like and so like I'll start to do that on these races on these runs where I know I've got like a mile left. And I start to like imagine I'm just like in the middle of the forest and it's just me, dude. And I'm just running.
Cottonmouths and
Yeah, I got copperheads on my tail, and like there's a fucking mountain lion over about 50 yards watching me, eyeing me down. We've been eyeing each other for a mile now, you know, and yeah, and I just like imagine, you know, our families on the other side of it.
I've definitely been there.
Yeah, that's a cool feeling. That one's like almost brought me to tears, like running before I imagine. I get like so into the idea, like just the thought of like, dude, I know we've talked about it, but like that feeling of like having your family there and like there's a finish line. It's been fucking 8 hours, and like you see it. It's like part of me like that. It almost makes me sad because I felt like there's gonna be a part of me like a mile out from the end of the race. It's almost gonna be like kind of sad
that it's over.
Yeah, it's gonna be like damn
because
like,
you're gonna suffer for so long,
and then it's just over.
And it's over.
And then like everything you just went through all day, and it's just over that fast. And like I can definitely see like a mile out, like stopping and just kind of looking around like, damn, this is all coming to an end. 16 weeks and 100+ days and the worst day of my life. Like it's, you know, and like,
something.
And I did this for fun.
Yeah.
Like it was my idea to do this.
No, he paid money to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. They say there's like a lot, what is like, they call it like the blues.
Mm-hmm.
Like you train for something for so long and it happens and you're like, man,
what do I do now?
What now?
All right, we're back. Yeah, just like talking about the scenery though, that's what there's like 4 or 5 like waterfalls I think throughout that race.
Yeah.
And one I think it's like is it Jackson Falls? Is that the
I think that's like the biggest one in like Illinois
I think
or Southern Illinois or something.
I think it's the biggest free falling waterfall in Illinois, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
You might be right.
Yeah, I think it's Jackson Falls one. And I've never even been out that way.
I don't think I have either. If I have, it's been like 30 years ago.
I've been trying to think. There's that one. Is it like Stoneface or something that's kind of out that way? I think Stoneface is more. It would be east in the Shawnee than where we're going. I don't think I've ever been this far like west into the Shawnee.
Yeah,
it's always been
like Harrisburg.
Yeah,
me too.
Just like straight south of Saline County, and there. But I've never actually been west. Well, I guess like Golconda, but other than that, I've never been over. I guess this is more like south of Carbondale, I believe, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Like the starting at like Ozark is like
Ozark, I think.
Isn't that close to like Carrier Mills area or something like that? Or
yeah, I think it's roughly
like an hour from my house.
Yeah, because whenever I was looking it up, I thought it was Ozark, Missouri, and I didn't realize that there was an Ozark. So Ozark is about probably 10 miles from Stone Fort.
Yeah.
Go through Stone Fort, hit New Burnside, and then just head straight south. It's like in between Vienna and Carrier Mills. Goreville area, Creel Springs.
Down there pretty good.
Yeah, I've never been.
No, me either.
Down through that way, I'm trying to look. Yeah, Eddyville's not too far. That's where that Shotgun Eddie's is at.
Yeah.
Harrod. I'm trying to look at where. Oh yeah, here's Golconda. Yeah, I think that's where we're gonna go stay at. I think is down there on the river the night before. That's we kind of talked about one of the big. So will you carb load just like one day?
So
out from this race, or are you going to be like a couple days, or?
So I was telling you earlier, I've carb loaded for a half before, and man, I'm so bloated the next morning. So
what'd you use the carb load with?
Just like noodle and just noodles.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It's been a while. Just anything that you can get
a
bunch of carbs from all day long.
Yeah.
But man, it made me so bloated the day of that morning.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I was watching some of these people whenever they're carb loading and like, you know, they're eating like 300 or 400 grams of carbs like the night before.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, man, I'm going to have to shit for an hour the next day. Like, I'm not even going to be able to make it to the trail.
I know. I have a, well, so like when I ran that 80-mile, when I did the relay race,
Mm-hmm.
I changed it up. I didn't eat a ton. I just kind of like ate a little bit as the day went on.
Yeah.
And I felt fine. I wasn't in the bathroom. Like
Right.
the first year, I was like in the bathroom like 3 times.
Yeah.
You know, so eating too much and I was bloated. And
Yeah.
so I think I've kind of figured out if I just stay steady with it, I'll be okay. I can't.
Yeah.
A fine line there.
Yeah. I think that'll be crucial. I think because I get the idea of like having all those carbs stored up but I don't know. That's part of me is like, I don't know if I really function the best like that.
See, I think it's just one of those things that like what works for some people may not work for you or me.
Yeah, and maybe
I don't know. I mean, I know there is some science, I guess, maybe behind it, but
yeah, I mean, and maybe once like race day comes and I might be 10 miles in and be like, I should have ate more, but
right.
I don't know. I just don't feel like I've ever performed well whenever I'm like fully loaded down like that. Like I just don't. I'm more of a. Once I kind of start to get hungry, I'd rather like snack along the way and keep myself going than just come in. Because I really, for me, I think like the first 10 miles are really going to set the tone as far as, there's just so much that goes into it. Like it's such a fucking mental battle.
Oh yeah.
Like
it's crazy too. Cause like if I, like, let's say we're going to go run 10 miles. If I know we're running 10 miles, I can set my mind.
Yeah.
But like if we're only going to run 5, I'll set my mind to that.
Right.
So like 4.5.
Yeah. Starting to wind down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a mental. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They say it's like what, 90% mental.
Yeah.
These ultra marathons are, so.
Yeah. And I'm real bad about, I'll start to let, it's bad. Like I said, if I go into it, if like I'm like feeling too full and like the first couple miles are really hard, then I just know like I don't want that to like fuck me up and throw me off for the rest of it. And then I'm like thinking, damn, I shouldn't ate so much. And now instead of just like focusing on task at hand, I'm like thinking about shit I was doing 2 days before that I should have done better.
Yeah.
Instead of just.
I think as you get your miles and stuff built up too, you'll find yourself settling in like 6, 7, 8 miles in.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I can just go, forever now. Or you just, the more you get your miles built up, the more comfortable you get.
Right.
You can't ever tell a race or anything for that matter in the first couple miles, because the first couple miles always just suck.
Right.
They do.
Yeah. That. So right now you're running what, 20 miles a week?
I'm at 16 right now.
16?
Yeah.
And how high do you think you'll end up going?
To like 30-ish, 30, 35.
30-ish for the week?
Yeah.
Is that one long run? Probably.
Yeah. Do like a 3, like, let's see, be running 4 days a week, probably 2 days in the gym, and be like one long run.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, like 4 or 5 one day, 4 or 5 next day, 4 or 5 next day, and then one
right
20 miler or something.
Yeah.
One of my good buddies that runs a lot, he said, I don't know if there'd be any, I don't know if you want to go over like 18, 20 miles.
Yeah.
He just doesn't think that'd be necessary.
Yeah. A lot of people I was listening to, they've said that roughly around their biggest run as far as like a marathon prep goes is like 20 miles. Yeah. And I saw this one funny meme, and it was like non-runners talking to runners, and it was like it's like, so how far, what's your longest run you're gonna run before this race to get prepared? And he's like probably 20 miles. I don't remember exactly. And he's like so you're not gonna run the full distance of the race before to make sure? And he was like, you never run the full distance. Yeah. And they're like, well, how do you know if you can do it? And he said, I don't. I was like, that sums it up pretty good. Yeah. It's like, well, how do you know that you can do it? He's like, I don't.
You don't. Yeah.
Like, that's
when I get to those longer runs, I'm just gonna have like I was telling you earlier, I'm just gonna have my wife drop me off like 20 miles from the house, and I'm just gonna run from there home.
Right.
That way, I'm not like going in circles around. Like, I can't do that.
Yeah, that's one of the hard things too.
I want the scenery to change.
Yeah.
that if I'm gonna be out there that long, I want the scenery to change.
I don't want to see it twice.
No,
I don't want to see it again.
no. It's like the guys that are running that 100-mile. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're just probably freaks anyway, but they're gonna go around that thing 3 times, dude.
Yeah, running it once is gonna suck because we gotta. Well, no, it's just one big loop.
Yeah.
So we don't have to see anything twice. But yeah, those guys will have to. Yeah, they'll see it all multiple. And that would be the worst part. And that's one of the hard things too. You don't think about whenever you start trying to calculate out some longer runs, like trying to find somewhere that you can either not have to worry about getting hit, or
that's true.
Finding somewhere where you can not have to run the same circle over and over. That's why track work. I don't think I will do any track work in these 16 weeks. I can't. It's like it's kind of ironic that like running is what I have decided to do as far as this competition goes, because I do get bored so quickly, so fast.
I get it.
That's why I think this is going to be super good for me too, just mentally, not just like the running and the physical aspect, but just like forcing myself to stay on task for so long is not something I'm very good at. Like, you can get me locked in for an hour, maybe a little longer than that, and now I'm bored.
Yeah.
And now I'm like on to the next thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Talking about track work, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I do it some. I hate every second of it. So, like a lot of people say hill work and speed work is the same, like pretty much the same thing. So
yeah,
and get on some hills.
I don't know if you noticed on the drive here from downtown though, but it's all hills.
Yeah, this whole place is just
all back through here. It's all hills. If you go out here and go left, and like you can run that road down, I think that sidewalk, you can run that road all the way to Evansville. It goes all the way down there to Green River.
Right.
But yeah, I just lost my fucking train of thought. Oh yeah, the hills though. That's what, even like the short runs, like the 4 mile ones, and I'm like, oh yeah, I just got 4 miles, and I'll take off from the house, and I'm like this one easy, and then it's like any direction that I turn, it's just like hills. I'm like, God damn.
That'd be good. That'd work out pretty good for you. I like hill work. I don't. It's like something. I talk to some of my friends that run, and they're they like to do speed work, and I'm like, man, I just soon get on the hills. I just feel like I'm better on the hills.
Yeah,
I feel like I run those really well. So
yeah, maybe like later on, once we get a couple more weeks in, maybe I'll do like some 5K times on a track, like some speed stuff. But other than that, like I just, I didn't really get into this to run fast.
Yeah,
like I'm not really interested in being the fastest guy out there.
Yeah, it's
like I said, it's just something. It's like whenever I think about guys that are in really good shape, or like in my mind, guys that I would kind of like consider weapons per se.
Sure.
Like you see a guy and you're just like, yeah, like that guy's a unit,
Yeah.
And like the guys that I see that are like that are the guys that are like freaks in the gym. They're real strong, and then also like you could cut them loose out on the road, and like they'll just run for
no matter what the case
miles and miles and miles. Yeah, they're just all around freaks.
So I always think about like if somebody ever like tried to like run from me for whatever reason, like let's say they stole something from me.
Yeah, I'm
like, they're gonna run. I'm like, well, you better be able to run really far.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna stop.
Because I'm not gonna stop, and I'm gonna catch your ass.
Yeah, you're gonna get tired before I.
A lot of people like. Some people think, well, you do this or do that, man. It's not a lot of it's about just training for life, too.
Yeah. Just being, stay ready. You ain't got to get ready.
Yeah. And for your overall health and just to be ready. Yeah.
There's something fun. I think it's what gets me through a lot of workouts is too, like, there's like, if you can like train and go through all this without some sort of like, maybe like condescending mindset, because like at some point, like, I think you have to kind of get selfish and like kind of arrogant, not like boasting or like arrogant to like others, but just sort of like arrogant with yourself kind of, and like talk yourself up, because like this isn't, kind of like a sport. Like I said, there is nobody out there to do it for you. Like there's no one going to be out there 15 miles in being like, come on, Matt, like you fucking got this. Come on, dude. Like nobody. It's going to be quiet. All you're going to hear is sticks crunching and rattlers and the fucking hyenas out there.
That's what I love about endurance too, is like I was telling you earlier, like you can't fake that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't fake it. It just comes through hard work, and that's it.
Yeah, there's even like other sports, yeah, endurance is one thing. Like there's not a faster way to do it. There's not a
No.
you can't there's no shortcuts. Like, yeah, genetics play a role, but like at the end of the day, it's just kind of like, you got to start here and you have to end there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you're talking about like being selfish a little bit and then having, confident, I think, and like I was telling you earlier, I want the title of like, hey, that guy's an ultra. Like he's not just a runner; he's an ultra. He's an ultra
yeah,
runner. Like
yeah,
I want that real bad. I think that's. I don't know.
yeah,
I think it's badass, really.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. That's like, and that's kind of like what I got to, kind of like what I think about. Like, I do all this training and I spend so much of my time eating right and staying in the gym and all this, and I'm kind of like, for what? Like, that's why I'm like so interested in competing now, because I feel like this whole time I've been doing all this training. I was, the last couple of years hardcore in the gym doing all these things, but I'm like, why though?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even like,
You gotta have a goal.
yeah.
That's how I am. Like I can't. I'm not a guy that just goes and run just to be out running. Like I gotta have some kind of goal or a race in mind.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not just gonna be out here just to run, just to be running.
Right.
So
yeah, I spent all this time getting ready, but then I'm just like, I don't really know what I'm getting ready for. And then I started at first that was okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Because at first, I was just like coming off getting sober. So at that point I was just like, do the right things. It's really crazy because I can like remember 6 months ago and like talking on this podcast and like the things I was talking about. And now it's like I have a different mindset as I'm evolving and changing. And now things are like, and as before I was like, you're doing enough, dude. You're sober. You're in the gym. Like, that's it. You're fine. This is way better than what you're used to living like. And now like I talked about earlier, I'm at that point now where it's like, no, it's like I'm back
You're
now.
evolving, yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
it's like I'm not questioning things anymore. I'm not like me just going to the gym is no longer enough. Like I've proven myself I can do that. Okay, I've stayed sober. I can do that. Okay, like now what? And I don't know. I know for some people that's enough, and
that's fine, I guess.
yeah, that's
Sure.
cool. And I think like I look over like the next 20 years of my life and I'm like, okay, let's say I spend the next 20 years of my life and like I never step on stage, I never do any of that shit. It's like, for fucking what? Like, I know that's probably not a great attitude to have. You should still eat just because you're not going to be a bodybuilder or a running, 100 miles or whatever it is. Like, doesn't mean you shouldn't be taking care of yourself. But just for me personally, like, I'm kind of like, look, if I'm not getting ready for shit, I'd just rather be at home.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I gotta have a goal.
Yeah.
And like I like to compete too. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. I think it makes your training easier.
Yeah.
You're way more liable to show up whenever, because especially now that we've sort of put it out there and like, at least for myself, like you've got like shit to back up all of your stuff. And like for me, I don't have any of that. It's like, I just put it out there that I was going to run this race and like, I'm just a noob at running and here I am going to do it. And I put myself, so there's probably a lot of people that are like, this fucking idiot thinks he's going to go run 30 miles. Like, look at this guy. And like, now that I've put it out there, it's like, well, 4 months from now, people are going to be knocking. How'd that race go?
Oh yeah. You better.
Did you run it? Did you finish it?
Yeah.
And I think about that, and I do not want to be sitting here 4 months from now being like, I did not finish that race, or I decided not to do it, or now that I put myself out there, it's like, well, you're exposed now, dude.
Yeah.
Like
accountability.
Yeah. And that's like what I've with this whole podcast and everything, I've like wanted to kind of make this sort of like positive movement of like showcasing that, you can turn things around and do all these things. And I feel like I spend the time sitting here talking about it. And, I was kind of at the point where it's like, yeah, but like, what are you showing? Like, yeah, you go to the gym for an hour a day, dude. Congrats. Like, so does a lot of other people I know, like, so I know a ton of other people that do that same thing. And it's like, but then you want to sit here on this podcast and talk about accountability and doing the most and all these things. And it's just like, maybe it's time to put my money where my mouth is.
And I told you that one day, like 0.01% of people have ever ran a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, how many people have ever done an ultra marathon? It was 0.007.
Yeah, I seen that. It was like maybe 5 out of 1,000 people, I think, and that was like, and that just depends on where you're at, really. Like, around here, it's probably like, well, you said in Carmine, there's only like one other person.
As far as I know, there's only one other person from Carmine I know that's ever done an ultra marathon, and that's a girl. So I don't know if there's ever been a guy. I don't know if there's somebody out there that knows somebody, they might be able to, but I don't know if anybody else has ever done one. So
yeah, and if anybody knows people out there that's hiding some fucking tips, tell them to send them my way.
you gotta take in something like this. You gotta take all the tips and tricks you can get from people. And like that girl I was telling you about, I've already reached out to her and told her I'm picking her brain over the next 14, 15 weeks or whatever. So
yeah, so based off those numbers, that's 1 in 5,000 people.
Yeah,
that's done it. And I'm sure if you went over to North City, it'd probably be 0 in 1,000 if I was guessing, because I don't know anybody that's ever gotten into anything like that.
So that's just really cool to me to, to be able to, if not if, but when we do finish it, to say that, I've done an ultra marathon. And
yeah, just put yourself in an elite company.
Yeah,
like that's an elite group, and they say it's one of those things. Like, and that's what I think is so rewarding about health and fitness as a whole. Is just like, it's one thing that the people can't take from you. Like, if you have a killer physique and a 6-pack and you're jacked, like, nobody can take that from you. That's yours. You earn that. Like,
rightfully so.
Rightfully so. Yeah. And there's nothing that anyone did that put that work in for you. Nobody went on the run and put the miles in. Nobody went to the gym and moved the weights for you. Like, it's one of the truest, just like, what you put into it is what you get out of it. Yeah, and you hear people say that so much, but there's a reason that people say it so often.
Yeah, and they should, man, because it's hard.
Yeah,
to have the discipline to. There's plenty of days and you don't want to do anything, but you just do it. And that's what separates you too. So I love it.
Yeah, I like to. Yeah, I'm getting better about catching myself. I've already had days where I'm just like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And it helps too. I think whenever you find, like, finding other people, I think, like, whenever you follow certain, like, influencers online or like other athletes that you watch or whatever it is, like, I always try to go back to those clips and some of the people that I like, and I watch them, and the people that do like the day in the life videos, and because you see a raw side of these people, and normally all you see are like the Instagram posts or the Facebook videos or the Facebook posts, and you just see the race finished. You see the recaps of the races, and you get to see the the medal around your neck at the end and the smiles and all of that stuff. But what people, there's only a select few people. If you understand it, you get it, and like the hours at 4 a.m, whenever you're up and you've gotten 5 hours of sleep and you slept like shit, and it's kind of cold outside and everyone's asleep,
and you go do it anyway.
Your wife's in bed, there's a warm bed down there you could just go crawl into, and no one would know.
Nobody cares.
No one cares. Your wife, hopefully you got a good wife. She's going to love you. Well, if your wife really loves you, hopefully she'll tell you to get the fuck out of bed and get after it.
Yeah.
But, if your wife really loves you, she would understand if you crawled back into bed.
Yeah, sure.
And that's like I don't know. That's like it's a different level of savage, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. Something about whenever you're in those moments, the early mornings with late nights, and there's nobody around, and you're just looking around and you're like, yeah.
Man, it pays off too. It is crazy.
Yeah.
In that moment, you're like, man, this just sucks. I don't even want to be doing this shit. And it's terrible. But man, when you start to see it pay off, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. I'm really thankful that I'm not a person that's just like, whenever that shit starts to get harder, there's no one, like, because I used to be the guy, no one's watching. We can do this at 50%. No one's gonna know. Yeah. Like, And then eventually you kind of evolve around to the point where it's like, yeah, well, I know. And like,
and that's terrible. That's worse.
That's worse.
And it will eat at you so much, dude.
Dude, I don't even care what other people think. Like, a part of me would. Like, if I just, like, if now I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that race too hard, fuck it, then I would know everyone's like, yeah, he's a bitch. But, like, those little things that, like you said, whenever there's nobody watching and, you know, like, I was guilty of it.
Watching in them woods for
Yeah.
at all for 32 miles.
Yeah. And then you have to remember, it's like, well, what are you doing this for? Like, are you doing it for fucking attention? And you're like, well, no, not really. You're like, no. And what I always go back to, and truthfully, I do, I literally just go back to that thought of me laying in bed that morning and seeing your story. Literally, I go and I'm like, do you remember that feeling, Chase? Like, you remember that whenever I'm running and it sucks and I'm tired and I'm like, fuck this. Like, I don't want to do this. And then I'm like, wait. I'm like, remember that feeling though? That feeling of like excitement and you know, the unknown. You don't know what's gonna come from it. Like, you know, it's gonna be hard. Like that feeling, like kind of feeling like a little kid on Christmas. You know, like getting excited.
And the morning we toe that line, the start line.
Yeah, it's all gonna make sense. I think
that's gonna be a feeling I've probably never felt before.
Yeah,
and then, you know, when the finish line, man, it'd be one of the better days of my life for sure.
Yeah, that's what
I know that sounds crazy. It might sound crazy to some people, but man, just the accomplishment in doing something like that, just man, I'll be emotional.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's what I was talking to Zach about. I was like, I already know. I'm just gonna probably cry.
Yeah, when you told me that, I sent you a message. Or when I saw that, I sent you a message.
Yeah,
like, man, it gave me chills. Dude.
Yeah,
I just love that, dude.
That's what I think about. I'm like, just imagine whenever you cross the finish line, I think like my parents are gonna go and Briley will be there, and you know, it's like I don't really need anybody more than that there anyway. Like, and you know, they're obviously gonna be real proud and whatever. But like, yeah, like you said, I think the feeling, I hadn't even thought about the feeling at the starting point. Honestly, the only thing I thought about is the feeling at the end. But like, yeah, that feeling at the starting point is gonna probably be emotional too, because at that point it's like 100+ days, 16 weeks of absolute hell comes down to this. Like,
you know, let's say like all that training is like your work, and the race is like the celebration and all the work you did. So man, I mean, like obviously you're gonna be nervous, but man, it's gonna be a good feeling, and just for me, I know it might sound goofy to some people, but man, I'm just thankful that I can even attempt to do something like that, because it's not everybody can do that.
Yeah,
you know, so I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. They said that something about whenever everything comes together, there'll be a moment. I don't know when it's going to be. It might be at the starting point. It'll all come together for me and be like, okay, this is you know, why we did this. It might be 5 miles in. It might be whenever I finish, whenever it all comes together, you know. But I know at some point there'll be a time where it's going to all hit me at once. And I'm going to remember all the hard days, the rough times, the tears, the blood, the sweat, and it's all going to come together in that moment. And it might be whenever I cross the finish line, you know, and it's like it'll all hit me all then at once. And I imagine I'm probably just going to crawl up in a ball and cry.
Yeah, I know I will.
Just be flooded with emotion. And
yeah, definitely. One of the reasons I was going to tell you this earlier, and one of the reasons I picked this race is because it's got such a long, there's like time limit, which is like 32 hours, because there's a 100-mile race going on too. So I just figured this would be the perfect opportunity to go into a race this long and not having to. I mean, dude, could you imagine being 30 miles into a race and get cut off in time?
Yeah,
I mean,
you know,
I mean, oh my God,
that almost take me out of it forever, I think.
Yeah, so I was like, man, I know it's not the best place in the world probably to do one for your first one, but I mean what 32 miles, what it is, but with that time limit, I mean, you know, that's one thing you don't have to worry about, because my goal is just to finish.
Right.
You know, if I finish faster, that's great, but if not, the goal is just to finish.
Yeah, I wonder what some of the normal cutoff times are for a 50K. Like 10 hours, you think?
Man, some of them aren't even that.
Less?
Some of them are like less. You know what I mean? Could you
Yeah.
imagine being?
No.
I mean, it'd be terrible.
No.
And I don't know if they for sure just cut you off, but I mean, sometimes they probably do.
Yeah, I'm sure whenever it's, bigger races and people are qualifying races for other races and
certain roads have to get back open or whatever.
Yeah, you got to free up lanes or whatever the case may be. I think I would just fucking be ready to off myself if I was 30 miles into a race and got cut off on time. And
that'd be terrible.
At least my very first one. Now, if I have, if time goes on, keep running these races and, if we did run a race where it was like a crazy cutoff time of like 7 hours and that's like a little different, but like, yeah, I think this is you don't have that pressure of time on your back. I think this is a really good for a 50K. I don't know how long it takes them to run 100 miles. I imagine for me, 30 hours would be fucking pushing it. But like I think a great start into an ultra with a 50K and to have this kind of time limit.
Aid stations every 4 or 5 miles.
4 or 5 miles. And
that's real nice. That way you got to pack a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you have your own drop bags at each one, because I know some races do that.
Right.
I got like a lot of questions I need to ask somebody.
Yeah.
But like you can drop like your own stuff too, along with the stuff that they have.
Right.
You can also have like different crew. You have like crew people at each stop if you want.
Have somebody there. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much I'd need that, but
yeah, I was trying to break it down because I don't know what I'm going to use to fuel. Yeah, I don't know. I might just fucking rock with the Rice Krispie treats. I mean, I don't know yet.
I know once you find from what past experiences, I've never ran nothing like what we're going to do, but just from training for like a half marathon, just like whatever works.
Yeah.
Stick to it. And then comes race day, like don't mix it up too much.
Don't change it.
Don't change up on race days, they always say, but it's, if they have some good stuff at those aid stations, I'll grab some of it.
Yeah, if they have, I hope they have like some fruit.
Surely they will.
Because I could probably just rock off fruit all day, honestly. Yeah. And that would probably be the best thing for me to eat, just because I can eat so much.
Yeah, fruit. It's natural. Like a lot of people are big on like the natural instead of like the goos and stuff.
Yeah,
I hate gels, man.
Really?
God, I hate them.
The nasty?
They just hang out. Like I can't. Like one of my buddies takes it. He just takes the whole thing and just squeeze it, go down his throat. Man, it like hangs around my mouth.
Yeah,
I get real thirsty. I just don't like it.
Really?
So I think like a little bit of fruit here and there would be better for me if I could do that.
Yeah.
And plus, like ultra marathon, we're not going to be like I grab some at the aid station. I'm gonna walk and eat.
Right.
And then I can get back to running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that's the one thing too. I've read like the marathoners. You see, they're out there, going for sub 3s, and it's like it's a lot different. Than prepping for these ultras, and where you're not really going for time. You're really just like trying to survive more than anything.
Yeah.
It'll be. Yeah, I think that takes the pressure off of it a lot. Because a lot of people, whenever you first bring up the idea of like running an ultra, they like get this idea in your head you're just gonna be like sprinting for 30 miles straight.
That's what a lot of people's perception of running is. Like, I couldn't run with you. You've been running forever. I just started. Like, we're not gonna sprint.
Yeah,
like, we're not gonna sprint the whole time, dude. I'll run at your pace because you got to have slow. You got to have the easy days too.
Right.
The slow runs. But yeah, people think you're gonna just sprint 32 miles. So
yeah, that's what. Yeah, I've tried to explain to people. I'm like, there's gonna be walking. There's gonna be probably freaking crawling and like it's not being out here and just full-fledged running as hard as you can for 30 miles straight until it's a lot more strategic. I think that's what makes it fun for me too.
That's one of the things that really interests me is the grind of it.
Yeah.
And then just different, like, you got to do different things here and your mind's got to be here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's more like tactful.
Yeah.
Tactful. I don't know, one of those words.
Yeah.
But it's more a strategy, and it's more like
definitely.
It's not just like
you're faster than me.
Yeah.
Type deal.
Yeah, the road marathoners where they just basically lock in and are set on pace, and they're just that's it, locked in the whole time. Like, not that there's not a lot of fucking strategy that goes into what those guys do, but This is more of like kind of slowed down.
Yeah, relaxed. Not want to
Ye-
say relaxed is a word.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's just a lot more chill. And that's
right.
one of the reasons I wanted to do one. Just because, like, man, the races where you got to be on pace to do this, and this,
Mhm.
man, it gets old.
Yeah,
And it takes a lot of the fun out of it for me. I know
yeah.
some people like that and stuff, but man,
That's what I
don't
was
know.
worried about with the idea of like getting into bodybuilding. I was really afraid, like, the first time I ever competed doing that, it was going to take the fun out of lifting weights for me, because after that, it would no longer be something that I did for fun. This is going to be
Yeah.
like a job, and like I have, and it with the ultras, it's a little different because you still want to be competitive and like do your best, but like at the end of the day, I'm not battling out for a first place cash prize out here trying to, like
Exactly.
it's not like that. It really is just like you against yourself.
Yep.
And
And you get a nice big medal, I'm sure. I think they have like custom medals for finishing. So,
Mhm.
I mean, mine's going to be the same as yours, no matter where,
Yeah,
who finishes where.
yeah, that's a lot of the attitude that I see from a lot of ultra runners and stuff online and stuff. It's like I saw this one video. It was half marathoners and marathoners like yelling at each other, and they were like yelling about like paces and times and all this stuff. And then like off like in the background, you could see like there was someone that was like sitting back in a lawn chair, and they were like smoking a
Yeah.
cigarette, and their hat was backwards. And it was like ultra marathoners, and it was like, what are they yelling about? It was just them.
Yeah.
And they were just like sitting over there in this chair, and one guy, he was like eating a bag of chips and was like smoking a cigarette, and he was like, what are they yelling about over there? Like, what are they
Yeah.
talking about? Times?
That's
Like,
what I'm talking about.
yeah, like that's
I
the
lo-
vibe I'm trying to get
Yeah,
into.
I love to run. I don't really care if it's fast or slow.
Yeah.
And man, just to be out there in a beautiful country,
Yeah.
it's gonna be awesome.
That's what I think. That's what interests me, is not like the how fast can we do it or whatever the case is, like trying to be faster than the person, whatever that, like that sort of competition. I'm not really, just because I don't know. As I want to be competitive, but like I'm just not in the mood to like compete with everyone else.
Yeah, this is
if
gonna
that
be
makes
like me
sense.
against myself here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, that's what for most running community. That's how they think. You're
Yeah.
just trying to be better than you were yesterday.
Right.
With it, you're not trying to necessarily beat this guy or that guy. You're just trying to be better.
Yeah.
For yourself.
Yeah, I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah, it was like yeah, I like those memes talking about the marathoners over there, and they're
it's hilarious.
checking their times and their watches, and then it just like goes to the ultras, and they're all just sitting over there, and they're like
Hawaii
pounding
third.
Cokes and stuff. Yeah, and they've all got on like bucket hats and like
Yeah.
just look like some goofballs out
Oh,
there,
yeah.
and they're all just like, we're just trying to survive. Like, I don't
That's
care
funny.
how fast we do this. They're like, I'm just trying to survive.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what I'm into. I'm not,
And
I'm just,
but that's what it is. You just got to survive it.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. That's yeah. I think I'm, again, we might watch his back and sit back here again in 16 months from now and laugh at ourselves for what we thought we knew, but it just seems like
That's how you grow, though. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, a lot of times people are even too afraid to put their thoughts out there anyway.
Yeah, used to, I would never attempt anything this on the chance that I would fail and people would say talk shit about me.
Yeah.
But now, man, I don't even care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
yeah, that's a whole different level of growth for sure.
Yeah.
Once once you realize, like, again, like kind of we were talking about earlier, just like taking advice or criticism from people that would like never even attempt to do the same thing. Or I would try to do something like this and I would have kept it low key.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, just in case I don't do very good.
I've thought about that. I thought about that and I was like, man, I'm too excited to not tell people.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. It's like, why not? Like, yeah, you gotta get past living inside of expectations that you've allowed other people to create for yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
for real.
You have to get away from that. You have to get away from allowing yourself to listen to the doubt and listen to people talk about, can you do this? Can you do that? Whenever they would never even try.
Exactly.
Like, and it's like, you're going to, you might live a little more comfortable than I do on a day-to-day basis, but like,
I'm not crazy. I'm just not you.
Yeah.
I love that saying.
I'm not, yeah. I might be a little crazy. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
But-
pretty weird guy. Well, that's okay.
Yeah, that's I think, you know, a lot of people, it is all mental, and that's actually like the one aspect of it that doesn't worry me. I'm like, look, like you don't know what the thoughts that have went through my mind, you know, the dark places that I've been at mentally in this world, you know, like maybe I'm delusional, but I just don't think this race is
Yeah.
going to put me in some of those places that
I
I've
hear you.
been.
I've
Like-
been in a lot of bad situations in my life.
Yeah.
And no matter what we endure that day, won't even be close to some of the shit that I've been through.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, that's how I
feeling
like it. Yeah. Once some of the experiences that I've had, like, you can't scare me. you can't because if the higher powers that be or whoever wanted you know something to take me out, I gave them too many opportunities and they didn't, and I'm still here. So like,
absolutely.
you can't scare me. Like not with this race, not with I'm more worried about like the physical, like my feet breaking or something like during this race, than like my
They're
mental like
yeah.
tapping out.
Yeah, our feet are gonna get trashed.
Yeah, I'm more worried about
For
like
sure.
tearing up, rupturing my knee or something, you know, from just pushing it too hard as compared to mentally me tapping out. Like I just don't. Maybe you know, maybe I'm wrong about that, but
You know, say that they say the mind to quit long before the body ever does.
Yeah. See, I think I'm opposite. Maybe that's just like my foolishness thinking, having never done something like this. But I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm pretty fucking like once I put my mind to something, like you're gonna have to probably put me in the dirt to make me stop.
Sure.
Before I get it. Like
That's a great mentality to have going to something like this. That's for sure.
like, and then at some point, I'm like, forget the training, forget all of that. Like I got too much pride. It don't matter. I cannot train from now till then and like show up on that day and it's like, well, you know, you are not ready for this, but like just out of pride and stubbornness, I'm gonna do it because I'm just difficult like that.
Yeah, and you know, talk about pride. I mean, you see like people online, you see like these guys that are like 60, 70 do these races.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, if they can do it, I
Yeah.
can definitely do it.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
how I look at it. Yeah. Yeah. That's how some of the people I've seen do some of these things. You know, not to put anyone down, but I'm just like, no offense, but
If you can, yeah.
if you can do it, I can do it.
With that being said, if we end up doing this, that means any of you guys can do it.
Yeah.
For sure. Because
Dude,
you know,
if I can run this race, fucking, you could have one leg and run it if I can run it. Like, I'm telling you.
sure.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. This is it's gonna be something totally different. Like I said, I've never even ran in like a cross country race or nothing like that in school. I never ran cross country, so I've never ran any sort of like sanctioned race or even I've never even been around one. I don't think like been around a race. So all of it's gonna be brand new for me, but I'm looking forward to it. I didn't think this is what I was gonna be doing a couple weeks ago. I was like literally 3 weeks ago. I hadn't ran probably besides like some basketball 3 years probably.
Really?
Like where I just laced some shoes up and went on a jog.
Yeah.
Probably 3 years. We were living in Carmi at the time and we did a little bit of running there for a little bit and it was like a mile or two at a time and that was it.
Right.
And so that's what the whole transition and the mental transition that makes it tough too. Like I said earlier, going from a lifter who runs to now a runner who lifts is like a whole different. My whole life's been like protein and weights up to this point, and now I'm like freaking rest days and carbs. Like,
Yeah.
like,
It's two different ball games. For
yeah, I have to. You know, I can't be. I could work out 6 days in a row and be fine, and it's like running and stuff. I can't. I have to. I have to be. It's weird to go from like in the gym where you're all out, you're training, you're working out, lifting weights as hard as you can every day, and then you go into running and you kind of try to bring that same mindset, and you get humbled very quickly.
Yeah. You
And
will.
realize like you have to be like okay with being slow if you're
Yeah.
gonna get into this.
You do, and you got to take it slow in the beginning too, or you will burn yourself out.
I think it's where a lot of people that they say that like they hate running or they don't like or they're like I tried it and couldn't get into it or whatever it was, and it was like yeah, well, what did your first run look like? And they're like, oh, 6 miles.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I ran 4.5 at whatever like crazy pace,
Yeah.
and then like you're gonna be sore and you're done.
Yeah.
You don't want to feel that again.
And people aren't recovering like they should be. I don't know
Right.
I don't know how well of what like you do on yours, but like last night we were watching movies, and like the whole time we were watching movies, I had that massage gun out the whole time, the whole movie. Each leg, I went and got the Brussels sprouts and peas out of the freezer, had my knees and my ankles all wrapped
I
up.
got those compression boots.
I need to
Those
get.
are nice.
I looked at some of those last night. I saw this dude selling some on Marketplace. I about went and
There'll
got them.
probably be some at that expo today too. I'm sure those are
Yeah.
they're everywhere right now.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people using those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about those. That compression around your legs, I imagine I'd probably really like. Cause like I said, I have like the shin splints and stuff, so that the compression. But yeah, it's tough. Like I try to encourage everyone to get into like health and fitness and all these things, and then they're like, "Oh, my body hurts, this and that," and you
don't do anything.
And it's like, yeah, it's like, well, you need to stretch, and like I'm in the sauna every single day. I'm in the cold plunge every single day. I'm massage gunning every day.
Yeah.
My gym has a massage chair that I sit in every other day. Like, and I'm still sore. So,
Yeah. This is like one of the reasons I always post like older people, like I always post like older people doing like crazy stuff, and just to show somebody on that's following me.
Yeah.
They're like, well, damn, she's 90. Yeah, she can do that. I'm just 45. I can get off my ass and do something. Maybe not, but
think of how many people hit like 30 and just like they're done.
Yeah, what's like that statistic? Like after 30 years old, 80% of people never
sprint again. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's like a lot. Think of how idle you just go. A lot of people at a certain age, dude. How many people just like they get 28, 29, they get this job, they get that, and like
I was that guy. I was that guy for a while.
Yeah, you just like think that you've reached your potential and it's over.
It's over now. Like I'm just gonna get fat. And
how many people do you think live 80-year lives and died at 25?
A lot, dude.
Like that's terrifying.
It is terrible.
There's so much like, or people will have kids and they just think it's over, or whatever. Like we're just always looking for a reason to tap out.
Yeah.
Why? Why is everyone just looking for a reason to tap out?
I know.
Why? Like
comfort.
Yeah, I mean, I like to be comfortable too, but like at a price. Yeah. Like, and I don't know, maybe it's just like the way I've like hardwired myself to think that I have to do these things to feel any sort of self-worth or whatever it is, but it's like I don't know. And it, like you want to like I try to explain these types of feelings to people that like don't really understand it, and I'm like, look, like just do it. Get into it. Try like you'll start to know what I'm talking about. It'll make sense. Like you'll start to get some of these same feelings and that you can't really explain, but you know that you're doing the right thing. You don't really know why it's the right thing, but like something about you is like, okay, I'm on the right course here for sure.
Yeah. If you could just, man, sometimes I just want to like show people like, man, just do it a few times. I promise.
It's like I wish I could put you in my body at like mile 6, just so you can know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what like makes it so great at the end of the day is like, you can't do that for anyone. You have to do it for yourself.
Yeah, you can't.
And no matter, you could sit here and talk it up all day long, but like, no one's going to do it. No one's going to do it for you. No one.
Hard work is the only way you're doing it.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
Yeah. Damn. Well, shit. We got the NPC Indiana Muscle going on today. This Saturday. This won't be out till Monday, but I think we're about to go over and check out. We got the Fitness Expo going on today. So shout out to all the guys competing today. I know I've got like 5 or 6 guys I know that are over there competing today. I've talked to a couple of you this morning. Good luck today. Keep killing. Keep spreading the positive example. And hopefully you guys keep checking in. We're going to keep sharing these updates over the next 15 weeks and probably be some more podcasts along the way. And I'm really looking forward to that follow-up podcast afterwards and reflect.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, and to go back and recap kind of everything that we sort of learned that day. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah, because we're gonna learn.
Yeah, we're going to learn.
We're gonna learn a lot
whether
about who
we want
are.
to or not.
Yeah, we're gonna learn a lot about who we are.
Yeah, that's the exciting part is like that is another thing that I think about too. Whenever because I like to consider myself a little bit of a dog. I think I kind of got that dog in me. I think I got that edge to me, and I think it's a good quality to have, and I wish I saw more people with that mindset, honestly. But this is gonna be different in the sense of how much of a dog are you at mile 20? You think you're fucking hard at the start line.
Yeah.
How much of a dog are you 3/4 of the way through this thing? And that's what gets me excited because it's I wish there was someone there at mile 25 and was like, "What now, bitch? You wanted this shit, I'm gonna hire somebody. I'm gonna have to hire me just a fucking professional shit talker for the day, and I'm gonna set you up with my truck and whatever you need. I want you to just follow me, and at certain points, you're just gonna pop out of the woods. You're gonna pop out of the woods, and you're just gonna be sitting there with I don't know, but just talking that shit. You wanted this, That's what I need. I was I need someone to remind me, you wanted this. And sometimes on my runs, I'll do that. I'm I'm starting to die, and I'll physically make myself smile.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm I'll make myself smile. No, remember, you wanted to do this for fun. This was supposed to be for fun.
Yeah,
what are you upset for now?
Yeah, you're not quitting. I tell myself that all the time. You're not gonna be no bitch. We're not quitting.
Yeah, that's what I start to tell myself is no. Wait a second. I thought you wanted this tough guy. What happened to that? You talking all that shit that you could do this, and here we are. So yeah, maybe I'll have to find someone now to post up out there in the woods, and every time they see me and I'm just not doing too well, they're just gonna I just need you to just shrug your shoulders at me and just be like, you wanted it.
Go.
This is all you, dude. What? You gonna bitch out now?
Yeah, definitely.
That's the thought that
just
I think about. I imagine somebody looking at me.
Make it easy. Just quit.
Yeah, I imagine someone looking at me and just being like, "I thought you had that dog in you. What happened to that?" And I just want I wish there was someone just along the way. Every time I saw him and I was just not having a good time, and be like, "I thought you had that dog in you." And yeah, you're right. I do. You're right.
You are right.
Yeah, I may have to get a recording or something in there, and just every so I'll have to play it in my ear.
Yeah, it's videos or something.
I have to find maybe a minute long clip or something like that.
I've actually ran with a whole and done a whole where his videos just play over and over and over
and over.
He has a mix on there where it's constantly that. I've done that before.
Yeah, who's gonna carry the boats? Yeah, that type of shit. That shit really works. The self-hype and motivation and that kind of stuff. It seems kind of cheesy, but whenever you're out there and you're in it, and you just start being hard on yourself, and you're like, well, who's gonna carry the fucking boats,
Yep.
But all right, man. Well, I think we're about to go ahead and wrap this thing up, get out of here, and head up there and check out this expo. So make sure you guys are staying up to date. Okay, we are running our first ultra marathon in 15 weeks. It's gonna be gnarly, and we're gonna keep you guys updated along the way, take you guys with us. You guys will see all the updates, kind of some of the behind the scenes stuff, what it takes going, at least for myself, non-runner to ultra in 4 months. It's going to be a trip.
That's right.
It's going to be a trip.
Let's go.
Make sure you guys are heading over to Hydrate 12 IV Therapy on Facebook and Instagram. Get those IV scheduled. It's getting hot. You need to get that hydration up, get it taken care of. New videos still coming out every single week. Thank you guys for the love and the support. We appreciate it. Hopefully you guys can learn a thing or two watching this and see that, like I said earlier, stop living inside of expectations that you've allowed others to cage around you.
For sure.
Build it up yourself. Build your own cage.
Yeah, do what you want to do.
Build up your own cage and then break that motherfucker down and build it again. And
brick by brick.
Brick by brick. So that's it. Love you guys. Peace.